One of the great things about being in Bitcoin is that over time, as you begin to level up, you also begin to level up your knowledge in and around adjacent technologies like privacy and data sovereignty. In hosting my own Bitcoin node with my Start9 server, I've begun to tinker with other services I can also run. And so today I wanted to focus in on one called SimpleX Chat. This is a private, end-to-end encrypted, peer-to-peer private messenger that you can host your own data with your Start9 server. Or if you don't yet have a Start9 server, you can use the application on its own and then connect your server later if you decide to run one. Today we're going to take a look at how to do exactly that, how to use SimpleX Messenger to connect with peers, to connect and host your own data, and to have private peer-to-peer communications in which you can send files, photos, video calls, audio calls, and just about anything else you can think of. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, shout out to sponsors of the show, hodlhodl.com. If you're looking to buy Bitcoin and you have some priorities in mind, namely peer-to-peer trading, instant self-custody, and no KYC, Hodl Hodl is the place to be. You can sign up with just an email address. Once you're in, all you need to do is choose a currency, a payment method, and an amount, and you can start viewing offers to start buying some non-KYC sats immediately. They also have a peer-to-peer lending market where nothing is ever rehypothecated. Highly encourage you to check them out. Links are in the show notes down below. Now, of course, when you do get your hands on some non-KYC Bitcoin, you're going to want to secure it with some of the best hardware on the market, and I can think of no better place to send you than CoinKite. I love them and everything they're doing. Of course, my Cold Card Mark IV is my go-to hardware of choice. I've also got all their other stuff, the Tap Signer, the Sats Card, the Block Clock, Open Dimes, and I've already made my pre-order for the Cold Card Q1, which should be out late this year, I believe. So if you want to reserve that or pick up anything else I mentioned, head over to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for 5% off everything in the store. Now, important also are your backups of anything that has a significant amount of value on it. And Seedor provides the most robust steel backup for your seed phrases on the market. It's got this disc and capsule design. It is beautifully designed. This is a serious product, and it is premium product, I will put at that. And everything that comes with the starter set gets you fully set up to create and safely secure 2 full seed phrases, and you can of course order more capsules later if you need. I will be doing a video on it soon, but in the meantime, head over to Seedor. There's a link in the show notes down below if you want to help the show in the process, and it is a beautiful, beautiful product, so be sure to check them out. Up next, we've got Nunchuck.io. If you're looking to dive into multisig and inheritance planning, then Nunchuck has you covered. Pretty much, you can set up a full multisig setup on your mobile device using things like the Cold Card, the Tap Signer, and a ton of other hardware options. They hold your hand through the entire thing, so it's super easy to go with. As I said, it has built-in inheritance planning so that your sats get to your next of kin if anything should happen to you. And finally, the whole thing, unlike other options on the market, is KYC free, meaning you don't have to give up your personal information to set it up and have it work for you. Check them out, nunchuck.io. I also have a full tutorial on how to work their Honey Badger assisted multisig. And finally, of course, we're going to be talking about it today, but Start9, love these guys. These are plug and play devices that you can get in your home, and you can run all of your Bitcoin and data infrastructure. So pretty much you plug it into your router, and then within a few minutes, you've got your dashboard that can be accessed from your browser, and you can run things like Bitcoin Core, your Bitcoin node, your Lightning node, mempool.space, join market for privacy. You can also, like we're going to see, host your data, files, passwords, photos, infrastructure for private chat messengers, and a whole host of other things. You got to check them out. They've got everything from entry level, basic, like bare bones devices, all the way up to what I'm running, which is the Start9 Server Pure. Check them out, start9.com. And with that, let's dive into our Start9 and SimpleX Messenger. So we're going to get started here with some prerequisites and explaining a little bit about what SimpleX is and how it differs from other encrypted messenger services. So SimpleX is basically an option where you can use this messenger. You do not have to have a Start9 server to use the messenger as is, but it is an excellent thing to be able to host your own data so that you're not trusting other servers if you don't want to. With that said, it is still very private, even if you're not hosting your own data. So if you don't have a Start9 server yet, then still stick around and learn about the messenger because you may find it useful nonetheless. And maybe you'll have a server in the future and you can upgrade and link your own server afterwards. Okay, so this is the first messenger without user IDs, and it's got a whole bunch of different features to it. So I'll just kind of outline what you can do with it, and then we'll get into what you need to know. So it has end-to-end encrypted messages with markdowns and editing, has end-to-end encrypted images and files. So if you're sending stuff to each other, that's all encrypted. It has decentralized secret groups, and only the users know that they exist. It has end-to-end encrypted voice messages. It also has disappearing messages if you want to set that. You can do end-to-end encrypted audio and video calls. You also have portable encrypted databases, which means you can move your profile to another device if you need to. And it has incognito mode, which is unique to SimpleX Chat. There's a whole bunch of different technical stuff that makes this possible. It does have temporary anonymous pairwise identifiers, meaning that you're connecting with each individual with temporary codes. You never actually have something that people can look up and find you. You have out-of-band key exchange for encrypting and decrypting messages. You have 2 layers of end-to-end encryption, and you have message integrity verification. And there's just, the list goes on. I'm, again, optional access over Tor, and we're going to discuss that as well. There's a lot here. I encourage you to check out their website, simplex.chat, and that will kind of get you primed for everything you need to know. With that said, what do you need to know to get through this video? Well, not a whole lot, to be honest. There's no major prerequisites that you absolutely have to have. You can follow along this video without having your own server, but there will be a section near the beginning which is linking your server to your messenger. If you don't have a server yet, you can just ignore that part and you can skip ahead, and then you can come back later when you do have a server if you see fit to link it and then fully become data sovereign in this respect. But nonetheless, this private messenger will still work for you if you just download it from the App Store. And the only other thing you should know is it is available for iOS and Android, and if you don't want to go through the Google Play Store, you can get it on F-Droid as well and just download the APK file and install it natively without having to rely on Google for that. So that's a nice little bonus as well. And do be aware, I'm on Android. Apple will be slightly different. There may be buttons in slightly different places, but other than that, it should be pretty easy to port over the knowledge if you're using an iPhone as you follow along. Anyways, let's dive in and get into our first steps here. All right, so here I am on my Start9 server, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the marketplace, and I can do a search for SimpleX, and it'll pop up right there. I believe it's featured at the moment, but just do a quick search and you'll find it. Do make sure that you're in the Start9 registry. If you're not and you're on one of the other ones, you just hit change and you select the correct one, and it should be right there. But nonetheless, I'm in the right registry. There's what I need. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click install. If I want, I can click View Installed. It'll show me the progress as it's installed, downloaded, validated, unpacked, all of that stuff. And once that's done, we should be able to set it up. It doesn't take very long, as you can see. It's pretty quick. Of course, I'm running the Server Pro, so the Server Pure, so it's very speedy. Nonetheless, all we're going to do, once it's all done, I'm going to hit Configure. It says it's been automatically configured with recommended defaults. Make whatever changes you want. And currently, there's no config options anyways. This may change in the future. You may be able to get in there and tinker, but I'm just going to hit Save. And look, that's all done. So now the last thing I need to do is start the service. It's installed, all the settings are set, but it's not running yet. So I'm just going to hit Start, and it won't take very long, might take a minute or so, and it should be up and running. There we go. A little bit less than a minute for it to get going, and everything seems to be good. I got the green check. If I do go back to just the services screen here, I can now see it in the bottom here. It is running. And when I do need to access it to link anything, I just click on it, and you're going to find it under Properties. There's a SimpleX server address, and over here on the right, there's a little QR code you can click on. We're going to be using that in a minute to link our application. So here on the Google Play Store, a quick search of SimpleX. This is what it looks like. You can just go ahead and install that on your phone. Once installed, we're going to open it up. All right, here's our initial dive into the app, the next generation of private messaging. First platform without any user identifiers, private by design, immune to spam and abuse because people can connect to you only via links that you share, and it's decentralized, open source protocol and code. Anybody can run the servers. So we're going to create our profile. We'll do a display name, BTC sessions. And the display name is only for people that have connected to you. So people can't search this. And then if you want to add an actual name, well, I'll just leave that. I'm going to hit create. Okay, so create SimpleX address. Your contacts in SimpleX will see it. You can change it in settings. For now, I'm not going to create an address. It says you can create it later. I'm going to hit don't create address. Now, private notifications. It can be changed later via the settings, but here are my options. And these differ from what I hear on iPhone. So just pay attention to what they're saying. But my options for private notifications are instant. It does use more battery. It's a background service. It always runs. Notifications are shown as soon as messages are available. Periodic. It checks every 10 minutes or only when the app is running. It's the best for battery. You will receive notifications only when the app is running. No background service. I'm going to leave it as instant, and I'm going to hit use chat. It says to preserve your privacy, instead of push notifications, the app has a background service. It uses a few % of battery a day. It can be disabled via the settings. And there we go. Okay, so we get to our main screen here. We can immediately start a new chat with developers by tabbing here, or we can tap to start a new chat with anybody that we'd like to link to. That will give us options for linking with them. Also up in the top left, if we tap, here's all our settings. So profiles, you can have multiple profiles depending on who you're talking to. You can go incognito, so it doesn't show anything. There's an address that people can connect to. You can go into your chat preferences, your notifications, networks and servers, audio and video calls. Everything is accessible over here. And so we're basically set in that department. Maybe one thing I will do is I'll add a little profile picture here. You can just do that by tapping. I'll throw in a logo or something. All right, that's all good. I'll save that. Okay, perfect. Up next, we're going to deal with the connection of this device to my SimpleX server on Start9. And all we're going to do is we want to go into our network and servers here. Now, this is where it may differ for you depending on if you are connected to a server, and there's some granularity here that we need to consider. We're going to go into the top SMP servers. So these are servers that are run by SimpleX themselves, and they have multiple different servers you can connect to, and this allows you to use their service for the time being, benefit from the way that this messenger works in that there's no profile or anything for people to find for you, and just kind of relay things. Everything's still encrypted, all of that. But this is where you can also add a server and add in your Start9 server. In order to add in your Start9 server, at the time of recording this video, it's all Tor. Now that may change in the future. You may have access to ClearNet with some updates, but for the time being, we're also going to need to be using Tor. Now, here's the thing to consider. If these servers are active, then you may be using those, or you may be using your Start9. Now, your Start9, as it currently only has Tor access, then only other people that are using Tor will be able to connect with you through your Start9 server. It has to be Tor. These are not Tor, okay? These are ClearNet, is my understanding. So you can disable these, and I'll show you how. If you tap, and you can use, you can do one of two things. If you delete the server, it's just going to be gone. I probably wouldn't do that for now. You can go where it says use for new connections. You can turn that off. When I do that, if I go back, you can see it's just grayed out and it means it's not active. These other ones are. Now, let's talk about connecting your Start9 server. If you do not want to be going through their servers, you would disable every single one of these. If you do not have a Start9 server, you're going to be using these servers for the time being, okay? So that's where we're at. Let's figure out what we need to do to connect to our Start9. And we're going to start by downloading one extra thing from our App Store. This is Orbot, and it allows you to run Tor connections via your phone. So we're going to go ahead and install that, and there's going to be a quick setting that we do. So we make sure that SimpleX is using Tor, and then we can be on our merry way and connect to our server. So I'm going to open Orbot, and it says it's requesting permission to set up a VPN connection. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, welcome to Tor on mobile. We'll just jump through these. And then it says you can enable any app to go through Tor using your built-in VPN. This won't make you anonymous, but it will help get through firewalls. We're going to hit choose apps, and I'm going to look for SimpleX in my list of apps here. So it should be down here. There it is. I'm going to give it a little check mark, and then I can go back out. And I'm going to hit done. So now you can see Tor enable apps down at the bottom. If you want to add more, you just hit the settings wheel. It will give you that list again. It did automatically start up Orbot for me, so I can see that this is all lit up. I'll show you what it looks like when it's off if I hit stop. Okay, if I had opened the app and it looks like this, then I just need to hit the little onion button in the middle and it'll start up. Okay, so it's connected, and it says that now SimpleX is a Tor-enabled app, which means if there's any Tor requests to encrypt everything, then it will use Tor to route my traffic. All right, that's all you need to do. Basically, choose an app and have Orbot running in the background, and you should be good. And so now SimpleX is Tor-enabled. So we're back here, and we can now add our server. The way we do that is we're going to hit Add Server, and then it says we can either enter it manually or scan a server QR code. We're going to be scanning a QR code, but just as a refresher, let's go back to where we were with, let's go back to Start9, and we'll take a look at what that screen is looking like now. Okay, so this is in properties for our SimpleX server. Just as a reminder how to get here. From our services screen, there's our SimpleX server up and running. We're going to click on it. We're going to go to properties. Okay, so this gives us a server address. If you wanted to, you could hit the copy button. It would copy to your clipboard, and you can text it over to a phone, however you want. make sure that you're probably using something private to do so. The easier way to do it is this little QR code looking thing over here. When you click that, it's going to open up a QR code on the screen, which I can then scan with my phone. So I'm going to do that. We'll come back as soon as that is done. All right, so I scanned that QR code. It popped up here. I'm just covering the server string, even though it doesn't show the whole thing all the way. But my server string, or my URL, is listed there. And then down below, all we're going to do is we're going to hit the test servers button. By the way, at this point, you don't need any more tinkering with your Start9. Everything is handled. It's just running in the background. But we're just going to test that connection with the whole Tor thing running and make sure it's all good. So let's hit that button and see what happens. And it's going to go through server by server and start giving them check marks. All right, and that makes me happy. That's a lot of green check marks. Now again, depending on if you are running this independently, if you're running this just through their servers or just through your own, or a mix of the two, it will look different. If you really want to host everything yourself, then you will disable all of SimpleX's servers and only rely on yours. But keep in mind, while it's Tor only, you can only connect with other Tor users. So just, be aware of that. And so we are all set now. We can move forward. Oh, and one last thing. I went to back out of here after I stopped recording for a second, and it asked if I wanted to save or move on without saving. I did save. So before you go out of here, scroll to the bottom. There's a button that says Save Servers, and then you won't get that little notification. But either way, make sure you do save what you've just done. So first up, let's take a look at what it looks like when you accept an invitation to chat from somebody else. Now, Bitcoin Ollie here has been kind enough to help me out with this video by sending me a one-time chat invite for SimpleX. And so you can see it shows up as a link here in my messages. And so I can tap that. It will ask what I want to open it with. And so sometimes it will register SimpleX, sometimes it won't. All right, and so I just chose Chrome. It got a little confused about which app it wants to open with, but it did redirect into my SimpleX app. So it says, do you want to connect via the invitation link? Your profile will be sent to the contact that you received this link from. I'm going to hit connect. And now we can see a message that's saying, hey, your connection request is sent. You'll be connected when your contact's device is online. Please wait or check later. I'll hit OK. So we can now see connecting listed up top here. And once that person checks on their end, then we should have a connection through which we can continue to chat privately now. Now, while we're waiting for connections, and you can see that I've already started connecting with another individual as well, I just want to show you kind of the run of how you can go about sharing your contact information with others. So from your main screen here, down on the bottom right, there's this little pencil icon. When you tap it, you have some options. You have create a one-time invitation link, which is what I sent to the first person there, or the one above. Below, you also have connect via link/QR code or create a secret group. So a one-time invitation link, it will look like this. It's going to generate a QR code. This can be scanned by anybody in your vicinity that has SimpleX. You can also share it as text, and that'll pop up and it'll give you different apps that you can share it through, and so on and so forth. Or you can copy it to the clipboard and paste it into a message, and we'll create a nice little link like the one that we saw when I accepted that invite as well. Now, the other thing that you could do here, and I'll leave this momentarily, we'll come back to it, is create a SimpleX address. See, this was down in the options here at the bottom right, but you can also do it from that main screen here. And hey, look, we've got a successful connection here, by the way. We'll jump into that. And that's what those invitations look like when they're accepted, okay? But nonetheless, you can also, from the bottom right here, say connect via link or QR code. And that would be your scanning. So the QR code that I just showed you previously, the option to create your own, that's if somebody created one in front of you, you can scan it. But the other option here is up, if you click on your profile, your SimpleX address. Now this is an actual universal connection code where people can connect to you. And this profile, by the way, is specific to this device, okay? So if I say my SimpleX address and I create one, it's gonna create a QR code and a copy code that anybody can use to be able to connect with me. So all I do, I'm gonna hit that. It's gonna, it says share address with contacts, add address to your profile so that your contacts can share it with other people. Profile update will be sent to your contacts. So I can either share or I can cancel it. I don't necessarily want to just share for, some people may not want to just share this everywhere. This is just a phone that I'm temporarily using. And again, this quote unquote profile, which isn't really a profile, is specific to this phone. You can transfer it afterwards. I'm not going to be doing that. So I'm fine just hitting share. Okay. And you can see down below, there's a toggle button that says share with contacts. So anybody would be able to scan this and connect with me from anywhere. Also, same rule applies here. I can share it or copy it to my clipboard or paste it wherever, and anybody will be able to connect with me. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to share this on Twitter as an example. And I'm not going to turn on auto accept. So auto accept will just accept any incoming connection. Otherwise, I have to approve them. So we'll see those coming through, but I'm just going to post this out. So I just said testing SimpleX chat addresses, send me connection requests. So I'm just going to tweet that out. And we'll likely see some connection requests come in here as well. And so I can go out of that and we'll just close it down. All right. So nonetheless, I am getting messages here. Again, this is hopefully no sensitive information, and I'll make warning. But nonetheless, we were working through connections, and this was a connection that I sent to this individual, and you can see all the different settings and everything at the top of the chat here. Disappearing messages are off, delete for everyone is off. Message reactions are enabled, voice messages are enabled, audio calls are enabled, all that. So we have a chat interface now we can now use, and use in a variety of different ways. Okay, let's get the layout of what's going on here and what we can do with it. So first off, the contact is up at the top. I can tap on the contact. I can change the contact name. And we have requests coming in now, but I can change the contact name. We can do things like contact preferences. If I tap there, what we allow in the chat, and those were all the things that were already denoted up top here. I can also, and we can check like if the person's connected or not. This also shows the relays that I'm using. So I can see that I'm sending out via my own relay, and it's receiving via one of the SimpleX relays. Now, this individual, they've informed me they also have their Start9 server set up and connected. Although, sometimes the SimpleX is in its infancy, so connections, it can depend. So I'm not sure why it's coming in via the SimpleX server, but it does try to not be sending and receiving via the same stuff all the time. So that might be part of it. Nonetheless, we have the option to clear the chat, delete the contact. All that stuff is right here. Now within the chat itself, I can do a number of things. I'm not going to do an audio or video call to anybody on this, but you know that the option is there. So there's a phone up at the top. If I tap the three dots, I can also tap on video call. I can also do things like mute notifications from this person, or I can search within the chat for certain key phrases or whatever. Okay. I can long press on individual posts. I can react to them and, you know, do thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. I can also reply specifically to that, which will kind of quote it. So you can see it's quoted here as a message. I can also copy. I can, you know, share like and copy it to a message app or a note taking app if it's some information I want to save. I can also delete it, and I can also get info about it, history, when it was sent at, when it was received at, all of that stuff. Now, I also have the option to record voice notes. So this is going to be kind of funny because this dude is probably going to be able to listen to this and hear it in the tutorial as well, knowing that it's coming through. So if I just hold the little microphone, or if I press the microphone, it's going to ask to allow. Okay, and now I believe I can hold it down. And so now I'm recording a voice message specifically for this chat. So this is part of the tutorial. Hey man, ignore this message. You're famous on the internet now. Anyways, so this is what I would do, and I would let go and it will record the message. Okay, once it's there, I can go ahead, I can replay it if I want. So there we go. And I can go ahead and I can just send that off. So he's going to get to listen to that nonetheless. And then you can also attach files and images. So I'm just going to pick one just off screen here. So for instance, I'll send off this image. I'll hit done. Okay. And then I'll just send off that picture there. So you can do the same with files, videos, anything like that, and that'll go directly to the individual, and it's all end-to-end encrypted. So it's encrypted as soon as it leaves my device and goes through the relay, my own relay, and then forwards on to him. And it is decrypted as soon as he accepts the message and opens up his device for him to read. Now, you can also set live message. It will update for the recipient as you type. I don't really have a need for that, but just so you know, it is there. And that's pretty much it. So this is kind of your messaging interface. As I said, video calls, audio calls, all of that is end-to-end encrypted. And look, there's our notifications coming in. So you can kind of see now I've got connections coming in from different people. Now I can choose to accept or decline them. Okay, so maybe I'll go here. It says, do I want to accept this? If you choose to reject, the sender will not be notified. So I'm going to hit accept. So I went through and I actually accepted all of the incoming connection requests. And one thing to note is that the person needs to actually also connect on their end. So there we go. There's another notification of somebody. And so as soon as I hit accept, the person has to be there on the other end to see that notification and that connection to be established, which is why this one is in the midst of still connecting. But nonetheless, I now have a couple different people that I've connected with, and I can now chat, and everything is indeed end-to-end encrypted. If I want to go into details here, I can see that which servers it's coming in and out through. So this person is likely utilizing just the SimpleX default servers rather than Tor. And that's totally fine. Like I said, you can do that out the gate, and then you can then later connect to your Start9 if you see fit. But all of that still stands the same. And now I've got a whole bunch of different connections here. Now, one other thing I want to show just as a good example, and thanks to, again, thank you everybody that's on Twitter that is replying with connection stuff and helping me do this. But I just want to show here on the screen, somebody sent me a connection request. And so I believe this is I think this is just their regular connection code. So what I'm going to do here, and I'll show you my screen here, I'm going to hit the pencil in the bottom right. I'm going to hit connect via link / QR code. And then I'm going to scan what's on the screen there. And then I get my regular connection request sent. And I hit OK. And so I can see that it is one of the connecting things up top, this 11:30 a.m. one that just happened. And we'll just wait for that person to respond, and I'll be connected to them as well. Now, let's say from the main screen here, you've gone and you've created an invite link and you've sent it off to somebody, but maybe that person is being kind of slow to use it, or it seems like they're not going to be able to connect with you for whatever reason. And this is just sitting there being annoying for you. Well, you can actually long press on it, and it gives you the option to, one, set a contact name so you remember who you sent it to, or you can just delete the whole thing if you don't want it sitting there anymore. So I can delete that, and off it goes. I can do the same with individual chats. I can go, I can mark them on red. I can favorite them so that they'll show up at the top. I can mute them. I can clear them, or I can delete them entirely. So yeah, that's just a long press on whatever chat you're referring to. Okay, so a flood of notifications came in, people connecting via that previous code that I made and posted. So now I've got a bunch of people in my contacts list. And what would happen if I wanted to create a private group chat amongst all of us, hosted on my own server and, you know, other data hosted on whatever servers these people are using, but again, private, end-to-end encrypted. What if I want to do that? How do I go about doing that? So we're going to go down to the bottom right, the little pencil there, and we're going to say create secret group. Okay, what's the group display name? We'll just call this sessions tutorial. Oh, no spaces. Okay, I'll just capitalize. All right, so we've got a picture for it. I'm going to hit create. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to then go down and we'll just invite, because everybody knows that they're part of a tutorial right now. So I'm just going to hit the invites for all of these individuals. But of course, you would select who is going to be there and everything. Okay, perfect. So now that I've got that selected, new member roles, you can give them roles. Observers, so they can only watch. Members that can comment and actually partake. Admins that can actually go in and basically go in and admin comments and stuff like that, and maybe boot members and stuff. Or owners that could actually shut down the group if they wanted to. So I'm just going to leave them as members. Okay, that looks all good here. And we're going to invite to group. Okay, and so this creates the group, and I'll be able to tap on it. I can edit the group profile, add welcome message, group preferences, all that stuff. And then I can see the group here invited. I see somebody's connecting already, jumping into the group. And in the group preferences, I can also add disappearing messages, direct messages. I can prohibit sending direct messages to members. I can delete for everyone, prohibit irreversible message deletion. We can also enable reactions, voice messages, all of that. I can reset everything, or I can save and notify the group members of any changes there. So that all looks good. And then I see other notifications coming in. But here I can see the people actually joining the group here. And so now we'll be able to, as a group, have an encrypted chat all together, self-hosted on our own servers. And all the same stuff applies, encrypted messages, but also things like sending files. I can also add further members if I want to later on. And you can also send voice messages just as I did before. Now, for the people that are connected, you can actually also go in and edit their roles. So I can go into the group here. And then I can select any person. So I'll go to somebody that's actually connected. So I can see the invited ones. I can see myself as the creator. And then I can tap on an individual that's already connected. So there's three people that are connected so far. I can tap on this person here, and then I can go ahead and I can change their role from member to admin or whatever. So let's change them. I'll hit change. So that person is now an admin. And then I can also remove the person from the group if I want to. So I can go back, and then it says you've changed the role of Fractal Chris to admin. And now that person has admin privileges, and we're all set. So pretty much that is the run of these private groups. And you can, any messages that you send will go out to everybody that's currently in the group there. Now, let's say that you wanted to have a conversation with somebody using SimpleX Chat, but all of your contacts, they're familiar with who you are, but you'd like to be private with this next person that you want to chat with. You don't want them to immediately see, oh, BTC sessions with that profile. How do you go about doing that? Well, within SimpleX, you can actually create multiple profiles that all link to you as a device, but that a person wouldn't know that this is the same person. So I can go, and from the settings here, I can go to your chat profiles, and I can hit add profile. And then I'm going to name myself Supercoder, and I'll hit create. Now it says make profile private. You can hide or mute a user profile. Hold it for the menu. I'll hit OK. And so now I can toggle between these two profiles. I can go to my BTC sessions one, or I can go to my Supercoder one. If I go to my Supercoder one, very shadowy. Maybe, you know what? We need a good shadowy picture for that too. Hold on. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to save that. And all right, so I've got my shadowy Supercoder there, my new profile. And now this is an entirely new profile. So yes, I have my other contacts, but they're not going to be present in this. This is an entirely separate profile. And so any chats that I start here will show me as my shadowy Supercoder counterpart and not as BTC sessions, but I can easily toggle between, and hey, there we go. There's my chat. Here's Mike with his, I guess, connection timeouts. But nonetheless, we have access to everything here, and I can quickly switch between them and start new chats and create invite codes and all that. And I could keep them all disassociated from each other and not have the chats commingling together. Now, if you really want to go above and beyond and be super private about this, there's one other setting that you can go into. So again, from the main screen here, top left, you notice now that I have two different profiles. It by default will show the profiles in the top left, and then to get to the settings, I hit settings here. So a little bit different interface once you have multiple profiles. But you can now also go incognito. So when I turn this on, what it means, and I'll show the info page here, it protects the privacy of your main profile name and image. For each new contact, a new random profile is created. It allows having many anonymous connections without any shared data between them and a single chat profile. When you share an incognito profile with somebody, this profile will be used for the groups they invite you to. Okay, so this basically, any incoming connection is now going to be a new profile. So you know, you may not want that. It'll just create a random profile for you for every new incoming connection request, which would be like with using your SimpleX, or when you do an invite code, all of them will be new profiles and they'll be separated out. If you're going to find that too difficult to parse through and you actually want to have contacts that you have ongoing messages with and they know that, oh, this is who I'm chatting with, then that might not be something that you're using, okay? But know that that feature is there and you can do it as you see fit. So I will turn that off for now, but it is available if you choose to use it. Okay, so lastly, I want to show the ability to export a chat database from SimpleX. So you're going to go to your profile on the top left. If you have to, then go to your settings separately. In the settings, you're going to scroll down to the bottom of the second section, database, passphrase, and export. Okay, so you're going to go in there. Now you're going to need to turn off the chat. So stop chat to enable database action. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to hit stop. So the chat is stopped. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to choose export database. Now it says set passphrase to export. The database is encrypted using a random passphrase. Please change it before exporting. So you're going to need to go ahead and do that before you move everything. So I'm going to tap on database passphrase and I'm going to enter a new one, confirm it, and update it. So I'll do that obviously off screen. All right, when I hit to update it, it says, do you want to change this passphrase? The encryption passphrase will be updated and stored in the key store. Please store passphrase securely. You will not be able to change it if you lose it. So I'll hit update. Okay, I get the message. Database is encrypted. All right, I'm going to back out there. And now I can go ahead and I can export a database. This is going to allow me to export a file here. And I'll be able to save it. And then I'll also be able to send it to myself on another device and import it. So I'm going to save this file. Then I'm going to use, email or whatever other method, other messenger, however I like to send over this file to myself. And then I'm going to load it up on another device that I have. All right, so here I am on my other device. And what I want to do is I want to import the encrypted backup of the demo device that I was using. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to my profile. I'm going to go down to database, passphrase, and export. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn off my chat as I did before. I'll hit stop. This one I've added biometrics to. All right, and so it now gives me the option to, again, set a passphrase, export a database, import a database, or delete. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import. I'm going to then look for the file that I've just downloaded and sent to myself. Okay, once I have that selected, it says your current chat database will be deleted and replaced with the imported one. This action cannot be undone. Your profile, contacts, messages, and files will be irreversibly lost. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to import. And again, I haven't used this messenger much. I had only had a couple contacts, so I'll reestablish those. But that way I'll have what I want. Chat database imported, restart the app to use the imported database. I'll hit OK. So I'm going to double check that everything's all good here. Okay. Okay, database passphrase is required to open the chat. So I'm going to enter that passphrase off screen. And then I'm going to hit save and open chat. And look what we have here. We have all our connections. They'll be reestablished, but I can see all of my chat and everything ready to go. It is also worth noting that not only did my main profile get ported over, but Shadowy Supercoder is there as well, and I can interact with that too. Now, if I do want to, I can go into, if I'm in one of my profiles and I go to your chat profiles from the settings menu, I'm not going to be using that supercoder thing right now, but it says make profile private. You can hide or mute a user profile, hold it for the menu. So I can long press this, I can mute it, hide it, whatever, or I can just delete it and get rid of it. So I'm going to delete that. And and it will, all chats and messages with will be deleted. This cannot be undone. Delete the profile for supercoder, profile and server connections, local profile data only. So I'm going to do both because I don't need that one anymore. So now we'll now default back to my BTC sessions. And there we go. Everything that I had on this other device has now been ported over, and I can now use this as my main SimpleX messenger. So just some final thoughts on SimpleX and its use with my Start9 server. Number one, I like the interface. Actually, it's quite clean looking, and so the navigation and the use of it was pretty natural and very familiar when you compare to other messaging apps that you may already be using. Connecting to my server I found to be quite easy. Scanning a QR code and then testing the connection, didn't have any problems there. What you may find though is it's early days for SimpleX. It is, a relatively new bit of infrastructure that is now available for us. And with that comes, sometimes connections won't work with certain people, or maybe, it's getting connected to your own server and then turning off the other ones may cause connection issues because people aren't on Tor, or the different things can happen. And so I've run into in testing a couple of different errors and connection errors, and sometimes people, for instance, I created that chat group and some people had troubles entering that chat group. So it's not without bugs still at this point. But with that said, I love the idea that one can create a server to host their own private encrypted chat messages, video calls, audio calls, file, sending files, all that kind of stuff. I love that that can be self-hosted. It's nice that they have the SimpleX servers up to kind of help people bootstrap that, and I think that'll be necessary. But the important part is that you can and will host your own data if you value that. And so I think that's really cool. I want to give a shout out to everybody that all the connection requests and all that stuff that I had going. Thank you for everybody that threw their hat into the ring to help me create this video. It made it so much easier to have a lot of people willing to jump in, try out something new, and send over connection requests there. I value that very much. And I'm curious to hear what you guys think about SimpleX. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. Did you connect it to your own server? Did you just use theirs? Did you only use your own server? What were your experiences like? What bugs did you run into? What worked well? And what do you think overall? Where do you think stuff like this is headed? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please do hit that little like button. It's just right down there, and every time that you click it, it helps the channel a lot to get this in front of more eyeballs. You can of course share it on social media. That's always a huge help. And the number one thing you can do is you can go and you can hit that subscribe button so that you can be informed of every weekly tutorial that I drop. On top of that, if you want to help in another way, you can hit up the previously mentioned sponsors. They're all in the show notes down below. And if you really liked what you saw, you can head over to my website, btcsessions.ca. There you'll find a ton of resources for free, but you can also book me for one-on-one sessions if you need some additional handholding. And you can keep your eyes on my in-person workshops, of which one is coming up pretty soon in LA for Pacific Bitcoin, but you can keep up to date on all of the latest workshops that I may be running around the world. And then finally, if you really liked what you saw, you can always hit that tips button on the top menu there. That will take you to my own BTC Pay server, where if you want to drop a few sats, you can buy me a coffee or help me run my node or help me get new hardware so that I can review it and make videos on it for you so you know how to use it. Anyways, guys, I am out. Have yourselves a fantastic day or evening, wherever you may be. I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
hodl the Bitcoin.